I'm the Reverend Phillip Johnson. I'm the Vicar of All Saints Weston. And we just thought this is going to be a really interesting and special thing, and we'd made a real commitment here when I came here that we'd engage with the local community and that we'd kind of really start to speak to this local community about what it is to be a community. And the project just seemed to do that. The photographs seemed to speak of kids from a particular community, photographing their community and then teaching their community about what it was that they were interested in and what their lives were like, and that actually that might be something that we could learn and grow from ourselves. One of the joys for me, and I was a teacher for quite a long time, is actually that moment when actually kids start to actually create something themselves. Now, whether that's actually in a kind of piece of fine art, whether that's through model making, or whether that's through dance or drama or music or whatever, there's something about that creative process that is so precious and so rare and quite difficult to hold on to. But fundamentally, when people create, they actually start to speak of themselves. They actually start to find out what the narrative is that they're trying to communicate, what it is they're trying to bring out in their lives. And I think that people are poorer in their spirit if they don't create. And actually a project that speaks directly of children creating and doing things like that, for me, immediately then starts to say, well, actually, how could we encourage our children in our community to flourish? How could we encourage our children in our community to be creative? And then they're kind of joining in with the kind of great dance of creation that's going on. I think that it's really, really important to teach kids in this country that there is hope, that actually there are opportunities to be creative. And, you know, in the words of one of the kids who was involved in the original project, that it taught her that actually she could make something of herself. She could make something creative that would mean something primarily because she was then liberated to do so. She was given those opportunities. I think it's vital we fund and support these kind of programmes, because actually I think we've spent a lot of time in this country retrenching arts funding and actually saying that there are certain big companies who could do certain big things and this is what we should be funding, as opposed to actually looking at particularly exciting projects that are dynamic. And I think one of the things about a project like Wembley to Soweto is that it actually has a life of its own, that this project you could see in this space is about putting 40 photographs up in a church. But it's not about putting 40 photographs up in a church, because it's about putting 40 photographs up in a church which are then open to the public every day, that then people wander in and engage with, that then we're engaging with. By the time we finish this project, which is only here for 3 and a bit weeks, we will have engaged directly with about 4,000 children. We will have actually done workshops and projects and various things like that with about 800 children. And their parents are also going to be involved, and the congregation have been involved. And in a parish of this size, which isn't very big, for a project that has not cost very much in terms of bringing it here and doing various things like that, the impact it has is greater than an enormous amount of other stuff that gets funded perpetually that actually has no impact at all. And so actually I think that what we should be looking at funding is projects that have a dynamic life of their own. And it's about building relationships. If you have a particular project like this that enables us to build further relationships with schools and community groups and various things, and actually you get the community talking to each other, the benefit of that, in terms of, you know, the Conservatives and the Coalition's big society, this is exactly what this project is about. I mean, this teaches you everything you need to know. This project is so exciting for me because I've realised, just as I've kind of got seriously on board with it and started engaging with it, that the impact of this could be huge. The impact of this is huge, and the impact of this actually will work for generations. And actually that's why it needs funding more than anything else. This is a really good investment, you know, for all arts funders and all private donors, because actually it's things like this that make a tangible difference to people's lives, a lot more than just one big project, and particularly more than just building, you know, a large statue and then leaving it like that. What it's inspired me to do actually is to realised the documentary power of photographs, and I found a massive amount of photographs from my childhood the other day, which I'm really glad were taken at the time. And I realised that actually I've lived in some houses and lived in some spaces and lived in some communities which I've taken no photographs of at all. And so actually it's kind of brought it home to me that actually what I need to do is that the people who are important to me and the places that are important to me, I need to document. And that actually, you know, I look at some of these photographs and think I'd love to be able to take a photograph as good as that. But actually maybe there's something in those photographs that speaks directly about the passion of the community. And so, you know, that's what I think it will do for me.